Could you use a quick tip daily? How about a tip that can impact your day? My name is Raphael. Join me as I bring you tips by experts around the world. These experts have shared their knowledge and wisdom with me and will directly share them with you. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow, and comment, and I would love for you to become part of the New Tip Daily community. Otis, happy Friday, my friend. How are you today?
Hey, I am doing great, man. And I'm doing a little extra great today because
Uh,
I always get excited when I know I'm going down to the ranch. So,
nice. That's
yeah.
awesome. So, what happens at the ranch?
Uh it's a different environment. So it's a
Mm,
break from the normal day to day.
yeah.
And I get to do stuff with my hands,
I
right? I
love that.
mean, the big project for the weekend is to finish insulating the bunkhouse
Mm,
and putting paneling up over the insulation, and then that'll be a great place for when friends come down there with us, where they can hang out and not freeze to death at night.
yeah. That's always important.
Yeah, it is. I don't like frozen bodies are kind of hard to maneuver, you know.
Yeah, and they're a little heavier, right? Aren't
Yeah,
they?
exactly.
Not that we're telling people what we do in our spare time with bodies, but so talk to me about the tips that, and this is called New Tip Daily, and sometimes we give tips that people go, "Whoa, I need to take care of that," or "I need to do that." Or I've heard that tip before, but now it makes sense. Now the timing is right.
Mhm.
So give us. You have 1,000 tips, and I know you do, but just give us a few if you don't mind.
My one of my favorite ones is you get to choose. You get to choose how you show up. You get
Mm,
to choose whether or not something makes you happy, makes you mad. It's all a choice. Nothing, I mean, nothing makes you mad. Nothing makes you happy until you decide it does.
mm.
I could put sprinkles on your ice cream and you can get pissed off. I mean, I could punch you in the face. Knowing you, you'd probably be like, "Oh, that was pretty good.
That
Smile."
was good. Try again.
But right, I mean, it is that sort of a thing, and I think that's if you start your day remembering that it's your choice how
Yeah.
you show up, whether you show up happy, sad, pissed off, feeling sorry for yourself, woe is me, I'm a victim, nothing ever goes right for me, or it's like, well, dang, that one didn't work out the way I thought it would. Let's try it again.
Mm.
And those things, that attitude, just that simple thing, I think is the most important thing. Uh,
I love that.
it's yeah, yeah. I mean, if you, I can give, like you said, I can give you a handful more. I mean, then the other one I always think about, and I do this daily, is I prep for the day.
Mm,
I have my morning routine, and part of my morning routine is reviewing my calendar, my schedule for the day, because I like to know. I don't like to react. I
mm.
like to
Yeah.
I like to proact, right? And by reviewing my calendar, because I do some work on Sunday to prepare for the whole week, but it's Friday. There's been a lot happening between Sunday and Friday. So I always double check every morning. I double check. I review it. I do my things that I'm grateful for. I look at the other objectives that I'm working on. I want to accomplish, uh, and then I review that schedule. The things that I've committed to, that I'm going to show up at 7:30 Mountain Time to be on this show with you.
Mm.
Those little things that I do because I've committed my time to you and other people throughout the day, and I want to make sure that I am going to be there and I'm going to show up with intention and on purpose.
I love it. I love it. The choice, that one, so many people don't do, and they choose late,
Hmm.
right? And then it's the reaction time, right? Instead of saying, "Hey, you know what? I know I have these things happening. I can plan for it." So planning and choosing how you react, how you behave. I think that's huge because if somebody comes over and tells you they come over and go, "You're ugly," and then you respond with, "You're ugly too," then that's not the right choice, is it? And then what I teach the kids is if somebody comes over and says, "You're ugly," you go, "You're very handsome." And then it throws the other person off and they're like, "What? Well, okay, you're not that ugly." So sometimes we need to learn those verbal skills when somebody comes in and is nasty to us, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, and I had a friend of ours on our podcast, 10X Your Team with Cam and Otis yesterday, Paul Fink. Great speaker, great entrepreneur, and we were talking just about that words, use of words, and the two that we Americans tend to overuse that we need to get out of our vocabulary is hate and but.
Mm,
Think about it. Every time you say hate, do you truly despise that thing to the utmost of your stomach? I mean, when you start to think about, well, I really hate the way this is laid out.
mm.
Do you? Do you really hate it, or is it just a little frustrating right now, and I'm going to take some action to fix
Yeah.
it? And you hear people say that about a person. It's
Mm.
like, really? Do you even know that person?
Yeah, right.
And how can you truly hate somebody? Because shouldn't you, just like you just said, when somebody says you're ugly, you say you're handsome back. Shouldn't you show them love and not
All the
hate them?
time.
Man, and I can't remember a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, James Proby, put this up on Martin Luther King Day. It was a meme of Martin Luther King, and it talked about removing hate from our inside.
Mm.
And it's so true. And it starts with just not using the word. Every
That's right.
time you say it, catch yourself. And then throughout the day, the more aware you are of it, if you really want to remove that feeling from your soul, from your life, then don't use the word. And that will start. That's step one. You stop using the word, and man, imagine that if we all stopped using that word.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
You just reminded me, or you made me even think what I know somebody who said they hate tomatoes. And then, but now let's think about it, right? And okay, maybe they don't like tomatoes, they
Mhm.
hate tomatoes or whatever, right? But let's imagine they get stranded somewhere and there's only tomatoes to eat. How long is that hate gonna last when their body starts to say, "You better eat them before you die," because
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's gonna keep you alive until help comes along. So you're right. We should replace the word with hate and maybe put the word dislike.
Hmm.
So it's the words, right?
Yeah.
If we can change our attitude mentally, instead of saying the word hate and say, "I don't like that."
Yeah.
That just it 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 it's less powerful, and it doesn't put someone else off who may love it
Hmm.
or really enjoy it. Because if I'm about to eat a sandwich and I have tomatoes in 'em, but somebody goes, "Oh, you got tomatoes on there," and then I'm gonna look at 'em like, "Yeah, I do. I'm about to eat this delicious sandwich, but now that you hate it, do I wanna offend you? Am I gonna not like tomatoes because you
Hmm.
don't?" You can say, "Oh, you have tomatoes on there. I don't like tomatoes." "Oh, okay, no problem." You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just such a angry, over the top word that I think we could do really well with ourselves and our attitude and our life, and in living better as
Mm.
better humans by just taking that word out of our vocabulary and not using it. And the other one, and this one is my the word "but."
Mm.
And we were talking with Paul about this yesterday, and he says the irony of using that word is, so you're going along a phrase, and then you say "but," and then you continue on. You just negated that phrase that you just said.
That's for
So
sure.
why'd you say that phrase if you're going to say "but"?
Mhm.
And because again, it's another negative. So one of the things that I always try to do, uh, especially when I'm writing, uh, it's hard because Texas grammar, uh, And I do my darndest to not use the word "but." And it's hard. Once it's a habit and ingrained in you, man, these are hard things to do, but once you start to make the conscious decision
Mm,
and start to eliminate these negative words, you start to eliminate that negative attitude that's within you.
yeah,
And you start to be more purposeful and more clear in what you're saying. Because if I'm saying, "Hey, Raphael, blah, 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 blah," but well, why'd I say all the blah blahs? Right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, why'd I say all that if I'm going to throw "but" in there?
yeah.
Why not be more clear in what I'm saying? And and I joked about this with Paul the other day. Can I use although and however? And he's like, nope. Like, dang it.
Yeah, yeah. It's very interesting when you said that in writing, people put the word "but" in. I don't ever think I use the word "but" when I write. It's
That's good.
interesting. It's interesting because that's one of the reasons I really don't curse,
Mm.
because not only do I believe in God, but I believe that we have better words to use than a curse word. And a lot of people say, "Well, I'm expressing myself." Yeah, but could you use a little bit of intellect when you express yourself instead of blurting out this curse word? That's just my opinion, right?
Oh yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm laughing because in the army, the F word is just,
Oh, it's
oh
all
man,
over.
oh my goodness. Uh, I knew some guys over the years that it was an adjective, a adverb, a noun, a verb, and it was like they couldn't say a sentence without putting five of them in the sentence. It's
Oof,
like, dude, do you hear yourself? I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I know it's us guys, we're out in the bush and all that sort of stuff, but do you hear yourself? How about you read a book and maybe increase your vocabulary a little bit, buddy?
There's more words that start with the letter F than the
Yeah,
one you're thinking about.
that's
Fabulous,
right.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. You just made me think of something. I wish I would have thought about this, 20 years ago or so, whenever that was more than that now. Uh, but wouldn't it have been funny to just get like a printout of all the F words
Yeah.
from like Webster's or something like that and say, here, try this. Here's some substitutes for you.
They're gonna go, "What is this? What the F is this?"
Yeah. That's exactly what he would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, I love the tip of when you talked about the choice, because that right there is a choice, right? You can choose how you speak. You can choose how you communicate. You can choose how you treat another human being. So I think that to me, that's my favorite tip so far.
Oh, awesome. And for me too, and
Mm.
I appreciate the opportunity to say it because it reminds me.
Mm,
It reminds me every time I tell somebody else, I share it, whether it's an audience or one on one or just in a conversation. It reminds me that I get to choose.
mhm.
I get to choose how I show up. I get to choose what I do. I get to choose who I work with. I get to choose what I allow to have an effect on me.
Absolutely. And thank you for choosing to be on the show.
A good choice, man. Good choice.
Great choice. Great choice. I mean, listen, you and I, we're getting to know each other. You've been on a few of my shows. I know you're coming on Coaching Calls soon. But every time we talk, I'm like, man, this guy is so much like me in a way, and I'm so fortunate that you and I connected.
So am I. So am I. We're going to have to find some place between New York and Colorado, meet up halfway, hang out for a little while.
Or come to each other's states, one or the
Yeah,
other.
no, that too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for sharing these tips with us. And everybody, remember, if you've heard a tip before, have you done it? Have you taken action on it? Or if it's such a great tip, share it with other people. Don't be selfish. Thank you, Otis, for coming on and sharing these amazing tips with us, because that's what it's about, helping one another. And that's why we have this show where I share tips with people. But I love it when I have an exceptional guest like Otis come on and share these amazing tips. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you, man. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, when you consider all you've done, you've served in the military, you kept us safe, and I know a lot of people and who say, "Oh, yeah, it was just my duty, it was my job," but it's more than that. So I want to thank you because without people like you, we would not live the way we live now. We might be in Russia or somewhere else. I don't want to start mentioning names, but we may be in a bad situation. So thank you for your service. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a privilege and an honor to serve.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Everybody, have an amazing rest of your day.